called Dishes to Riches, one of the first to many. I'm here with our lovely guest, Yesenia, to one of my favorite restaurants. So we're gonna dive into the story here with Yesenia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So how did you get your start with this business?
It's so interesting because when I get asked this question, I never could have foreseen my future and me being sitting here even with a chef coats on, being in my restaurant. I worked retail for many years. My goal was always to become a district manager, maybe a regional manager, work my way up to be president and CEO of a company. That's what I know. I'm a good saleswoman.
Right. That's good. We're hustling.
Yeah, that's right. And when I finally got out of a store and made it to a multi-unit position where I was overseeing 2 states, I wasn't as content as I thought I would be. It's like you finally get what you wanted and then you start questioning everything because it wasn't what you expected it to be. I'm a connector. That's what I do. I connect with people.
Connect the dots.
Yeah, and so when I was removed from the customer experience, the customer facing part of it, I guess I wasn't happy. Like I need to be like boots on the ground, face to face, talking to people, hearing their story, sharing my story. Like that's just who I am. And now I understand that that's where I thrive. So when the pandemic happened, like the whole world, I was home and I have 3 kids. So I was cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I was posting all of that on Instagram. And I had my followers, and when I say followers, I'm talking about coworkers, family, friends, like people who actually knew me were like, oh my God, your food looks good.
This is when the pandemic hit.
This is during the pandemic. This is the
What were you doing back then again? Like,
I worked retail before that.
Retail.
But, and I'll get to it, but once I started getting all of those messages, like, your food looks good, I didn't really pay it much mind. Until I went back to work and then I got laid off literally like 3 weeks later after like stores started to open back up. And I really felt like that was like the universe or God pushing me to like do something for myself. But before that, 17 years prior to now, I've always been on this conscious journey. I know you and I have had discussions about health and wellness. And I guess I've been always learning and hoping to educate and help people learn because I really felt like there was a big gap on education when it comes to what healthy looks like. And that definition is very broad because healthy for you looks very different than what it is for me. But for me, it was just being conscious about ingredients and making educated choices. I grew up in Washington Heights. I'm a first generation Dominican American. So when I think about the choices my mom was making was solemnly based off of marketing. Right, so like I grew up, for example, eating Wonder Bread. That is like the bread that was most marketed as a kid, like when I was a kid. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that. It's too soft for me, but yeah.
Right?
It's good.
And you know,
back when I was a kid, I was eating a lot of Fruity Pebbles. That was easy to digest.
Exactly. Fruity Pebbles was the best.
Yeah. Now I'm like, I look at it, man, I can't eat that stuff.
Food is like, there's just like this orgasmic feeling of like eating good food, right? But I think that there's this responsibility that we have for ourselves of being informed of what we're putting in our bodies. And I just feel like for my community specifically, I'm talking about my family, my friends, my group of people that I knew, that wasn't being spoken of. Food was just something that you ate to fuel yourself, but also because it tastes good.
Fuel yourself next.
Yes, exactly. So I spent a lot of years trying to share go ahead.
You got sick at one point that drove you to?
No.
That's what changed me.
Yes.
I mean, I've always been health conscious to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like I don't know if it was the age. Like I said, when I first met you here, you know, I hit 45 at the time. I was traveling a lot, you know, here and there, Florida, Texas. Something hit, I don't know if it was the restaurants or my age or something, it just hit, and I got some feeling here, which a month later, you know, I went to the hospital to figure out what it was. They said it was diverticulitis.
Yeah.
And then when I was like, oh, so they told me it was not curable, supposedly, whatever. I was like, nah, I gotta find a way. I was like, because they were giving me pills.
Of course.
And I'm like, that's the only way to cure it? They said, yeah. I said, no. And I did a fast. and from the fast, you know, the Dr. Sebi stuff and Yaki Awaken. Those are the two guys that I was.
We love us some
reading-
Dr. Sebi around here.
And yeah, I know you had you met some of his people
yeah,
here before, right?
Yeah, one of his wives came
So-
in, and I had the pleasure of meeting her.
Yeah, for me, that's how it happened. It was like, you know, it was like a year to cure it, and now it's gone. Because when I
So-
went back to get tested, everything's clear, everything's fine. I'm like, okay,
That's
great.
amazing. That's amazing
So,
that you were able to at least make changes to help
Yeah.
yourself. My mother had diverticulitis, and
Wow.
although I, you know, thank God, this is what, I've never been sick to the point where like I had to question my entire existence, but
Yeah.
my mother did, and that was close enough for me. I mean, to see the person that I love the most in the world. I mean, she had cancer, and she, you know, she became better for a long time, but then it came back, and it came back with a vengeance, and it took her from me, unfortunately. But that was enough for me to be like, okay, I've already been on this journey. Like, I didn't want her death to be in vain. Like, I wanted to take, like, I feel like when she passed, there
That
was
was
like
part
this.
of what
It was-
helped you.
Really,
envision
really. This would not happen. Unfortunately, this would not have happened if she didn't pass. And I would have her back any time of day and get rid of all of this if I could. But
course.
that did have to happen in order for me to, for this fire to be ignited within, for me to want to like share with the world. And the reason why it ended up being food is because I used to blog, I used to do YouTube videos, and essentially I realized that it's not blogging, it's not videos, it's good ass food. It's putting delicious
That was at
food.
your house back. Washington Heights.
No, I mean I grew up in the Heights, but I live in Long Island.
Yeah.
So like when I had my first kid and I got married, I moved out to Long Island.
Long Island, okay, me too. I'm from Long Island.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the YouTube stuff and the.
Yeah, no,
filming,
that was being in Long Island already. I was already a mom when all of that
But
started.
the
to
content
happen.
was based on cooking.
Oh, yeah, the YouTube. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was food based. Yeah, I started doing content. I started blogging, but like I said, it wasn't really getting me the traction that I really was hoping for. I wanted people to react. I wanted people to have a reaction because I read a book when I was 17 that made me react to not wanting to eat meat, to questioning what
Okay.
I was putting in my body. And when I was sharing people verbally, like, oh my God, Jose, imagine I learned this, this, and that. But then you were like, what are you talking about? Like, I was getting that reaction. People were just like, you're crazy.
Yeah, that's what
What
I
are you
get that.
talking
I get that all
about?
the time.
You know, and I was like, like how could I get people to react differently? And over the years, it's food. It's delicious food. People still come here super skeptical because maybe a friend told them, and they're already like, this is gonna be whack, right? And then they sit and they eat.
What made me come here was honestly, because I don't go to restaurants hardly. This is like one of the only restaurants I come to eat at. What happened was my sister, because I prepare everything in the car. If you check out my car, I got like the freezer in there, the fridge.
I love it.
I got a portable, como se llama, un fregadero, this is Spanglish.
A little
You know what I'm saying?
hand
I could
sink.
wash, I could cut my fruits and vegetables up in there.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So I prepare my own food, so people think I'm crazy. My mom, my sister, they're like, oh my God, what, you crazy. I wouldn't do that, you know. But it's just a whole different lifestyle and it's hard. So then my sister saw your video clip and she shared it to me and I was like, oh. And then when I saw your video talking about the oils that you use, because that's what I learned when I was away. That's why I didn't know much about oils when I was 45 years old. I got sick and I figured out things. I'm like, oils? What? And then when you mentioned oils, like, all right, that's my restaurant. I'm gonna be going there. You know, avocado oil, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So-
it's, everything matters.
And that, obviously that's more expensive.
Yes.
So
it is
is that
more
something
expensive.
you thought about when you were opening this?
I did, but for me, it's
'Cause it doesn't deter
it's
me,
really
it's-
not a question of, you know, like I'd rather raise my prices and have the quality that is
Right.
set to my standard.
Yeah, because I don't know any other restaurant that uses those type of oils.
And it's hard to, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like, oh, it's easy, because it's not. Like, when I order like a pallet of oils, like it's thousands and thousands of dollars.
Wow.
It's not cheap. And, you know, I know that not everyone has the luxury, because it truly is a luxury to be able to say that, you know, you do certain things or you source things from, you know, certain parts of the world, right? These are luxury experiences. But for me, when I think about my restaurant and what I want to put forth, I really, it really matters to me because I always say this: if I won't feed it to my kids, I won't feed it to my customers. And my kids are my everything. I do not play with how they eat. I don't play with what I put on their body. I don't play with anything that has to do with my babies. So,
That's key.
yes, major key.
Success. You know, that's what this show's about. Dishes to riches. It can mean a lot of different things. Dishes is obviously, you know, we think about food. Riches is actually, to me, is health, because health is wealth. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Without health, you don't got wealth. So.
There's a saying that
Green is prosperity.
That's right. That's right. I recently heard something. It was from a podcast, and the gentleman said, let's see if I get this right. He said, a healthy man wants the world, but a sick man only wants his health. And like that hit me because I just thought about my mom. Like nothing mattered to me when she was sick other than gaining her health back. We spent every dollar we had on, you know, alternative treatments, on doing things that the medical system wasn't covering, you know, her bills with.
Right.
And even after she passed away, that we were cleaning her house, this is like a year and a half after, we came across the last medical bill that had come into her home.
Yeah.
And it was over $2 million. And that to me was just so mind-boggling to believe that that was the bill.
Damn.
But this is like the world we live in. And I thought we were spending a lot of money on ozone therapy, electromagnetic frequency, you know, like high doses of vitamin C. We spent nothing in comparison to what the medical industry gained from her passing. One thing that I've learned in such a short period of time of being in this industry is that you can be the best cook in the world or the best chef in the world. You can be the best anything in the world. But if no one hears your story or no one, you know, can relate to you, then how are they going to find you, right? And New York is New York. There's a lot of people here. But my goal is my goal from inception, before I even knew that this would be a restaurant, was always, how do I get people to have a reaction to eating differently than maybe what they've been accustomed to their whole life? And so for me, marketing is getting in front of the camera, not being shy, talking to people, getting my story out, sharing my mother's story. Every time I share my mom's story, I get a reaction because 9 times out of 10, someone has someone who has passed away from cancer or knows somebody.
Right.
And when you have emotional connections like that, it really connects the dots for people. It makes people trust you. And the reality is that people don't fall in love with companies. They fall in love with people.
Exactly.
So my goal has always been to put myself at the front, let people see who I am, and hopefully get to know me. You come here, you're my customer, you come here all the time. I'm never just in the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen, I'm on the floor, I'm touching tables. Some people are even like, who the hell are you? You know, but I don't care, right? Like, welcome, thank you for supporting me and my mission and what I'm doing. So just a lot of, I say yes to everything, even if it feels small or, you know, I don't look at followers. I've had people with really big accounts post me and it does absolutely nothing. And I've had very small accounts post me and it takes off. So for me, it's the content that gets put forth, also the algorithm. But
you said something that's key there. It's your touch with the community, your touch with the people.
That's very important.
That's what.
That's very important.
That's your key to success. How do you do your day-to-day business as far as finding the right people? Because one of the hard things to do in business is finding the right people to work with you. That's.
You see this face?
You know, you go through a lot, I'm sure, because.
Yes, the people piece is very difficult. My first year was very challenging here. It's not hard to find people. It's hard to find people that are in alignment with what you want.
Right.
This is the first time that I am the owner of my establishment. I don't report to anyone. It's easier when you work for someone else's establishment. Even when I was in leadership roles, that my job was to hire and bring in talent, it didn't affect me as much. But now that this is mine, when I was bringing in people that, you know, I hoped that they were the right person, you know, I was often disappointed because the reality is that, you know, we we live in a world where you want instant gratification. You want to get a job and you want to like, you want to see an immediate like result. And the reality is that if you're going to come in and we're going to grow together and you're going to help me grow this business, I'm going to invest in you and I'm going to ensure that there's a spotlight on you. But it's not about coming in and like just
working.
That's it.
Yeah. No.
And so it was hard the first year, mostly because I wasn't just focused on talent. I had to focus on talent, cooking, operations, paying my rent, you know, like there was just too much going on. And I didn't have the manpower or people that I can trust to be able to delegate. So unfortunately, the talent piece fell through the cracks. Another thing I want to say is I had a lot of great talent come through my door. But unfortunately, my husband and I were not in a space that we could give them the investment that they needed in order to succeed. So we acknowledge that also, because it's not just about pointing a finger. We've been able to also look back and say, damn, that person was really good, but unfortunately, they fell through the cracks because we didn't give them all of us.
So you learned through that experience. So
We
now
did. We did.
Invest the right. It's true, because I know various industries that I've been involved with, it's one of the key things.
Yeah.
Investing in them until they,
Yeah.
you know, it's like a baby.
And now we're in a different place because we had that growth, and now I do have the flexibility to train someone and spend time with them, right? So we have a great leadership team in the front of house. We have a great leadership team in the back of house, and it's different now. I feel supported, but it doesn't stop. The training doesn't stop because the company's always growing. I always told people we're very fluid. And what that means is that, Jose, if I hired you today, tomorrow I might ask something different of you because I'm still learning. And unfortunately, people don't like change. They like to be comfortable and they don't want something new every week. And we are always evolving.
Yeah.
If you've been here this last year, I mean, we just put this in. You know, we updated that. We updated our bar. My entire kitchen has a 360 different look.
It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
This is different too, right?
We change wherever we can because in order to stay relevant in this industry, you have to keep up with the times. And that also reverts back to marketing.
Yeah.
You know, like TikTok came out, I started doing dances on TikTok and I was like, what am I doing? So I scaled back. I was like, this is not for me. But you know what? At least I tried it.
Right. All right, so technology-wise for your restaurant, what do you, how does it integrate into your business?
It helps me a lot. I just think about, you know, I see ourselves as a mom and pop business.
Yeah.
But then I also always aim higher.
Gotcha.
And, you know, we live in a different day and age. There's no way that, you know, I could have my team, you know, like working harder if we can have smarter choices in play that are going to help us be more efficient and, you know, from an operational perspective, be able to execute the task, which is, you know, getting through the night seamlessly. And so obviously seamlessly and
without hiccups.
Yes.
I mean, no system's perfect, but
no system is perfect. We've had our hiccups, you know, here and there, but nothing too crazy. Obviously, there's so many choices on the table, and everyone's giving you.
I'm sure you get a lot.
Let me give you this so that you can join us or whatever. My husband normally handles all of that because he from an operational perspective understands, you know, like the numbers better.
Right.
For them to make sense for us and what we decide to go for. I think constantly we're evolving in what we're learning. So I'm never set on what we have. So what I mean by that is that if there is, let's say, a different POS company or whatever the case may be, like
that could fill in the gap of something that you need.
Yeah, I'm willing to transition
because technology is always evolving.
Technology, but also the cost of running a restaurant is so expensive, and
right.
I can't cut back on what it means to have staff. So that means that I need to cut back in other areas, and sometimes that is looking internally and assessing where that can be, and maybe it's $100 less, but guess what? Those $100 I can put towards something else. So, yeah.
Gotcha. That's very important.
Yeah.
Financially and what it can do for you.
And I think one of the
right at the moment, do you do anything online with the system? Like any orders coming in online?
Yeah.
Be it Uber,
Yeah.
DoorDash,
we have
Grubhub,
third-party platforms.
and your own site as well, or just the
We
third
do.
party?
So on our website, you can only order to pick up. And then we have Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub. You can do delivery.
Those stuff goes directly to the kitchen, or somebody has to go in the kitchen?
Yeah, it goes directly to the kitchen. We prepare the item, and then we send it out.
Excellent. All right, so let's talk about customer experience. What has been like some of the plates that people have raved about? You know, like my favorite's like the quinoa plate.
Yes.
I eat that like 3 or 4 times a week.
Literally.
If it's not here, it's at my house. You know.
I mean, the customer experience is everything for me. I care about what my customers think. My goal with HAAM was to create a space where you can come and feel good, because food makes you feel good. But not just the food making you feel good, the experience, right? The way my servers interact with you, maybe me having a moment with them, really feeling like you're transported into a different space, forgetting your problems, forgetting that you're in the hustle and bustle of New York, and maybe that you're on the beach with a cocktail in your hands. But the food obviously is our product. That's what people come for. And the dishes that people rave the most of are always going to be the mofongo.
Mofongo. There you go. Dominican flavors.
Mofongo.
What up? What up?
So the mofongo, I grew up on mofongo, and you know, in the Heights, you have La Casa del Mofongo. There's like mofongo everywhere. But I wanted to kind of add a little bit of uniqueness and really tie it into what we represent, which is Dominican and Trini culture. So instead of sitting on top of like a carne calajillo sauce, I did it with a curry cream sauce.
Okay.
And that really ties in Trini culture, and it worked really well. And my mofongo is also sweet plantain and green plantain, so you get a little bit of sweet and savory. So that's probably the most.
Like mixed together?
Yes, it's like literally
Which one should I
mashed
try?
all together. From what?
That like which one is that? The one that has both together?
The mofongo.
Oh, they all
It literally has all the mofongo. Yeah, I only have one mofongo on the menu, but it has green and sweet plantains.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is it spicy?
It's not spicy.
Because one of my things is sometimes that the plate that I like to eat, sometimes
Has a little kick?
it's the mushrooms.
Yes.
The mushrooms have sometimes too much kick.
Because
So what I do is sometimes I order the black beans on the side.
on the side to kind of dilute it.
Yeah.
So I use a lot of spices, as you could imagine, especially with like Indian
That's
curries.
from your husband's side.
Lots and lots of spices, and but the mofongo is not spicy. But
Gotcha.
curry is a very potent spice, so it might feel spicy to you.
Gotcha.
But it's definitely not gonna make you like break a sweat.
Yeah. What is like the most like raw plate that you have, I guess to say, like less cooked, not too cooked?
Yeah, I would say there's probably 2 on the menu that are raw. It's going to be the plant-based ceviche. It's going to be hearts of palm ceviche. Literally, it's not cooked. It's just the hearts of palm with avocado, tomato, onions. I use a little bit of seaweed to give a little bit of the flavors of the sea. Lemon, little pepper sauce to give it a little bit of a kick. Yep. And then the other one is our passion fruit cheesecake. And that's fully raw. It's not cooked.
Gotcha. But that's a dessert. It's more
That's
like
dessert,
sweeter, on the
yes.
sweeter side. Okay,
Yes.
okay. So looking back, is there anything you do differently as far as like starting? Well, you already mentioned how you would train people.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
No, I think it's easy to be in a position and look back and say, maybe if I did this or that, this wouldn't have been the outcome. But I'm a believer in that the end is written before the beginning. And so if this is the way that God wanted me to
That's the way it's
take my
supposed to
steps,
go.
I don't challenge it. It is what it is. And I feel like, it's always easy to say like, oh, it could have been this way, but then I wouldn't have grown. You have to go through the challenges in order to grow. Comfort is a killer, so I like to step out of that, even if it puts me in positions where, it's maybe not the easiest, or maybe it's you're being challenged, but ultimately that's when you grow out of that challenge, and you grow ultimately. Yeah.
So the name, show them the name. we forgot to talk about the name. You know what I'm saying in the beginning.
HAAM. HAAM.
We going ham up in here. So you know what I'm saying?
That's right. And it's
How
HAAM.
did you come up with this name, and what does it stand for?
So,
I already
okay,
know, but
you know. So when I started selling tent and table, this is after I got laid off from work. My husband's like, you should do a pop-up. Like, give people what they want. And I didn't think
Gotcha.
much of it. But he bought me a tent and a table on Amazon, and I signed up to a local market and I sold my food. And
So you went from the YouTube videos at the crib
YouTube videos, blogs,
to the pop-up.
To pop-ups, essentially. There was a gap in between those things, but yes. And I wanted a name that was provocative, that was a conversation starter, that was just gonna get heads turning. And it wasn't HAAM initially.
Okay.
It was healthy as a mother. And not just mother, M-O-T-H-A, mother. So like that New York
that's
slang.
What came to you when...
That's what came to me, healthy as a mother. I wanted something that like captured essentially my essence, right?
For some reason, I'm envisioning like Marlon Wayans and I don't know, these guys saying that, like, healthy as a mother.
Healthy as a mother. So that's the name that came to me, but I was Healthy as a Mother Vegan Kitchen.
Right.
And I learned a lot under that name, because imagine having a tent and a table, having consumers come, purchase your food. Some people embraced it, but most people didn't. What I got a lot of was, oh, you're healthy? Well, you're frying an empanada. That's not healthy, right? So what I'm now learning is that, okay, it doesn't matter that we're plant-based. If it's fried, that's someone's perception of not healthy, right? Or vegan. Oh, vegan, nah, I'm good, right? So I had to really play around with the name, because I was like, I can't open up a brick and mortar and have such an investment. Like, this is my life savings in this place. So like, I can't take on such a risk and not go into it the right way. And so I went from Healthy as a Mother Vegan Kitchen. I was like, okay, vegans gotta go, but we're gonna stay with Healthy as a Mother because I still believe in that, right? To Healthy as a Mother Dominican and Trinidadian plant cuisine, because one of my mentors said, Healthy as a Mother, I don't know if you're a plant store, I don't know if you sell herbs, like what are you? So you have to let people know through the name what the product is. So I was like, okay, it's Dominican and Trinidadian plant food.
Right.
But then I was like, damn, that's a mouthful. Who the hell's gonna say Healthy as a Mother Dominican and Trinidadian plant cuisine? So then I switched it to HAAM. So I just abbreviated Healthy as a Mother. That way, the word healthy still remains, but internally, like if you know type of vibe.
Right.
But I don't have to deal with the backlash of what healthy and what isn't. And ultimately, I don't claim to be, you know, like a health
guru.
Yeah, like that's not who I am. It would be great if I was, but I'm not. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a holistic practitioner. I'm a mom that cooks, whose intention is to take the foods that she grew up with and make them plant-based.
So
unfortunately, our culture reflects a lot of fried foods and things like that. So it's like
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
so it's like, so I mean, that's what we grew up with. So
in DR, one of the popular things, matter of fact, that gave me an idea. You should make that. It's called, coño, ¿cómo se llama esa vaina?
¿El qué?
Pica pollo. Pica pollo.
Yep.
That's popular in DR.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's a street food.
Street food is popular
and it's
in DR.
good. I don't eat it for a long
Pica
time.
pollo,
Maybe I'll try it one day again.
You know, like all of that stuff. But yeah, so I mean, ultimately, I was like, I just don't want to deal with that per se, because I want to have the freedom to cook whatever I want to cook without having like this like responsibility behind it, you know? And I'm very responsible with what I put forward regardless, but I just don't want the pressure. I want to be able to do it freely, like any other restaurant would.
But you still use the best possible ingredients that you could get. So
exactly. Whatever's within my reach and within my finances, you know, like we're gonna go there. But
when's the guava thing coming back? You know
Which
what I'm
one?
saying? That you used to do the 3 empanadas. One of them is
the guava and cheese.
Yeah, when's that coming back?
You're not the first to ask.
'Cause that's good.
You're not the first to ask. So the problem is that people are not good at decision making.
Okay.
So we used to have 4 empanadas, but we sell a trio, and we would allow our customers to pick which 3. So I had to simplify it for my servers so that it's just, this is what it is.
You use soy in those, though, right?
And some of them, and some of the empanadas. So
you ever thought about using like quinoa in some of them?
Yeah.
Or non-soy?
I'm working on my summer menu, and there's There's going to be a lot of newness. So I think you'll be very pleased
Gotcha.
with what you see. So the reason why I use
I try to stay more on the Alpine
on the outside.
side.
I know.
Yeah.
So the reason why I use those faux meats is because, you know, I always saw from the beginning, before I even knew that this was going to be a restaurant, I wanted people who were, ¿cómo se dice? Like, the hardheads, I don't want vegan food, the ones who looked down upon it. I wanted them to have HAAM as a stepping stone to be like, oh man, this is good, right? Right? Because ultimately, you know that coming here, see, you come here a few times a week because, you know, you love us like that. But the reality is that's not sustainable for a person, right? To come here 7 days a week and get their food from us. So ultimately, my health is not, or your health is not my responsibility. My health is my responsibility and my children's health. So what I'm saying is that I wanted this to be a place where you can leave here and go back home, and now the seed is planted on the idea that plant-based food isn't that bad, and maybe explore more of it. Do you know what I mean? And that's how kind of the menu kind of started. But you know, I do have a lot of mushrooms on the menu. My quinoa is organic. You know, I use quality oils because I do have a lot of alkaline customers too that come in. So there are a lot of soy-free options on the menu because of that reason as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Anything else you want to add to let the people know?
Ooh, I mean, we spoke a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I kind of gave you a little snippet that I'm working on a new menu.
Nice.
And I'm really excited about it. I always say, like, I'm on this journey of health, right? For my personal reasons and because of what happened to my mom. And I'm also constantly evolving. And I think the beauty of the restaurant is that you're always going to see my reflection in the menu. So the way you see my menu is how I currently eat, right? So like this new menu will also reflect my growth in the way that I eat because I'm constantly trying to find ways to better what I'm ingesting and what I put in my body.
Gotcha.
And then ultimately that I love my customers because, you know, this past year, I've shared this with you, has been the craziest year of my entire life.
Roller coaster.
I mean, that's like an understatement. It's been wild, but at the same time,
new opportunities opening up.
New opportunities.
That you have to like try to juggle. Oh wait.
And it's hard because you don't want to turn things down because you don't know what's going to be that one thing that's going to help boost your business. But I'm ultimately just thankful to the people who come in here. I know we're not a cheap restaurant, you know, and you know, I really value, when I say thank you, I'm not just saying thank you, I'm saying like, damn, like I cannot believe that out of thousands and thousands of places in New York City, you chose to come eat here today, or you chose to come back. Like that means the world to me because that means that's another day of.
I was here yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yeah, like, and you know, like.
You was in New York City, I think.
Yes. I was at another event, but It
but the food was very good,
to
so that goes to the same. I was about to say that.
It means a lot to me.
Like I don't know. I'm seeing the future a little bit. Like possibly, you might have other locations opening up.
I hope so.
Which that's a challenge, but I think that it can be done if you're able to, what's the word? Duplicate yourself in a way.
Yep.
Where it's the same.
I love
the
that.
food is the same as if it's you.
I love that you say that because a lot of people are like, oh, you should open up here. And my answer is always the same. I can't open up a second location until this one doesn't need me. And this one needs me still.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like it has to be like it's you cooking it.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of restaurants that scale lose that quality.
Correct.
So it's challenging. So I don't really know yet what the future holds. And I say hopefully because, you know, at the end of the day, like I said, I really believe in the outline of how things are supposed to be.
Yeah, how God has it for you.
And if it's meant for this to be one location or 10, like I'm for it.
Most memorable thing that has someone said to you, any customer has said to you?
Most memorable thing that a customer has said to me. Wow, let me think. There's so many. So many. I had a customer come once, and I approached her table and we just started to talk, and it was like an instant vibe. And she told me she came from New Jersey just to come eat here.
Wow.
And I was so thankful, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you drove from Jersey, which is something I would do because I travel for food.
Yeah.
But it was just nice to hear
Me
that
too.
someone did, right?
Yeah.
It was nice to hear that someone did it to come here. And we started talking. She was actually by herself. I ended up sitting with her. And we just started talking about life. And she was battling cancer at that current moment. And she said that despite being sick, she has not been able to outgrow the foods that made her sick to begin with. And she said,
So she's saying she's still consuming.
she's still consuming a lot of things that she was consuming before. I don't know what that was particularly, but she was ultimately just thankful that there was a space where she can eat the foods that she loved or that grew up with without having to feel guilt that she was, I guess, making herself more sick. And
I could relate to that.
that
I
made
could
me
relate
feel
to
a
that. I
way
like that,
because
yeah.
obviously of my mom, but also because, again, going back to the responsibility of there are people who come here who, are sick and are looking to have the comfort of eating good food.
Right.
And that does come with a big responsibility.
What I guess we're gonna end this off with what would you recommend? Because obviously the people that are gonna watch this are not just like people that are interested in food. It's actually people that are interested in starting a business, entrepreneurship.
Yep.
So what would you say to people that are starting their own restaurant or their own ideas of any actually it doesn't have to even be a restaurant, any type of business. What's something that you could tell them about getting started? Entrepreneurship.
Well, I think the first thing is you can't be fearful to do what it is you want to do. I've seen entrepreneurs with great ideas that it never manifests because of fear, and I've seen entrepreneurs with shitty ideas who go really far because they get out and do the work. So if I have to say something to you is don't be afraid, put your best foot forward, don't be afraid to fail. My husband loves to tell me, Kobe didn't win those championships by, winning. He did it by losing. So you have to be okay with that. And also work harder than anyone else. Consistency is key. Even for myself in this industry, like the food industry is probably the toughest industry to work in.
It is.
Let alone forget working in it, which is super hard. When you're an owner or an operator, like it's that much harder because you're in the weeds, but you're also like operating from the top. And I guess what I have to say to you is that if you're consistent and you persevere, you will succeed, because a lot of people who start this give in somewhere in the middle because it is so hard.
Right.
So hard. And I'm not the best at what I do. I'm saying that straight up because the reality is that there's the artistry of food and the creativeness. I go out to eat a lot and I'm constantly meeting chefs all over the world that are just like incredible.
Right.
But I've been able to, with no experience, I've never worked in a restaurant, I don't have a culinary background.
And you don't have no family members in restaurant business, like above
No.
you, like uncles or whatever?
No, nothing.
So you're fresh. Oops.
Green, I'm as green as can be.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you keep pushing. Push the envelope. The sky's the limit, and you decide how far you want to go.
Let's go. You heard it from the boss. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you like this episode, don't forget to, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. Later.
Dishes to riches.